A very, very good evening. Friday, the 13th of June 2025. My name is Raj Amir. This is a Recusant 9 transmission. Unusual for me, a Friday night. I normally have the pleasure of my daughter with me, but if you are from the part of the world where I live in, you will know it's Whit Friday and it's the band contest. So that's where she is, and a few people have been asking me about the censorship on YouTube, so I thought now might as well be as good as any time to share with all of you what's gone on, and that way we can keep our Sunday evening transmission clean on the things that matter to you rather than what they do to me. Very good evening to Stephen, who I've just seen from corrupt Holland. Well, Stephen, if Holland is corrupt, I don't know what England, the United Kingdom, is. So a very, very good evening to all of you. The way this channel works, and all of my work operates, so we're clear to the those of you who've joined us new or on this journey new, is I put all my content out for free. You can join this YouTube channel if you want, and you have, I don't know what the membership perks were, but when we set it up, it was like some certain people could comment on the posts or not comment on the posts, and in the end we just gave up with it all and we said no, it's all free. So people who want to support me contribute either by joining up on YouTube, or my preference is for you to join Red Wall and the Rabble, which is the blog, I suppose. It's a web page, but it's essentially my blog. It's where I produce all my content, put all the links together, and that's the link to it, redwallandtherabble.co.uk. I urge people to go there and subscribe. Our membership numbers are pitifully low, and I use that word pitifully on purpose. They are pitifully low. If you consider that the social media content across Facebook, X and YouTube has millions of views every month combined. Not as many on here, but on X and on Facebook combined millions of views every month, if I'm honest with you. So I'm trying my best to encourage you to go and join Red Wall and Rabble, and one of the reasons why is because it's hard for these people to try and censor me on a platform that's owned by me. They've tried and gone after the hosting agency and tried to have my contents removed. They tried to have me demonetized, so they've gone after PayPal and tried to have me demonetized as a journalist on the payroll of the council and the Labour Party, a man called Neil Wilby, so-called journalist, malicious blogger, proven malicious blogger, who attempted to have me shut down on behalf of his Labour Party friends. And so they've tried desperately. And I know some of you get upset when content gets removed, and I think many of you came across it first when Andrew Gold's video on heretics was removed. So we will start there, I think. We'll start there. I think my sound is working fine, unless I've got anything wrong here. I'll check again and see if it's on. It's everything's fine here. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if there's an issue at your end, but I think my sound is fine. Thank you for the super chat, Nick. And it is pitifully low. My volume it can't be low because I don't touch it. It's to do with the gain and stuff, so it won't be. I don't touch any of that once it's set, Andy. So I don't think it is anything at my end, I'm afraid, my friend. So what we have and what we've had from the outset is a campaign that the Labour Party have run to censor me and remove me. And this isn't new. So what happened with Andy Gold and the Heretics program isn't new. There was a period where they desperately tried removing us from Facebook, and that nearly succeeded. If I'm honest with you, it nearly succeeded because the complaints were relentless. They wanted to cancel me. The police repeatedly arrested me at the instructions of Labour Party politicians because of content I'd posted, factual, informative, not in the least bit unlawful. And they celebrated it, and they used it to try and smear me and belittle what I was exposing, which is now proven to be true. I am not Maggie Oliver. I'm not Tommy Robinson. I'm not like that. I'm a political campaigner. I'm an educator. And I have taken my town, and now I am part of a group of people, I would say, who have educated the entire nation on what has taken place. And you need to understand they did everything possible. They tried to censor me, silence me, remove me off social media. They went to the police and had me arrested. And then every time they managed to get any form of social media strike, they used it as a means of trying to justify, look, we've had him removed off Facebook, he's on a ban here, he's on a ban there. That means he's telling lies. Samosa Jim, as we call him, okay, Jim McMahon, the Secretary of State for Local Government, the Minister for Local Government, I don't think it's the Secretary of State, sorry, so it's a Minister for Local Government, has even stood up in Parliament and boasted how I'm a racist and far-right activist, and shared with his supporters how the National Crime Agency had been directed to arrest me and silence me and shut me down. So all of this is what I have endured to get us here. So when this latest wave came, coordinated it yet again, I'll be honest with you. Thank you, Denise. Thank you so much for the super chat. I'll be honest with you. I am struggling. I'm struggling with my anxiety, I think, of every time something happens, I have a wave of emotion. And that's a consequence of what they've done to me. So if I'm driving, I park up the car. If someone's driving too close to me, and check to see who's following me, because those are the things they had done to me. They had me followed home. I was carjacked with my daughter in the car. All of these things are real. So I felt that, and when the video started being removed and I heard a noise in the morning, I thought my door was being kicked down again, and I thought the police were trying to arrest me again. So when I write and I share my content and I come and speak with you, I ask for, especially those of you who I don't get back to straight away, or who insistently contact me, and I perhaps react stroppily, perhaps abruptly. And I'm even at the best of times, I'm a straightforward, abrupt person. I mean, no malice in it. You need to understand I am also a human being, and this has taken its toll. It's the best part of 7 years. And we now know who's been speaking the truth. We now know who's been speaking the truth. At one point, and when I started, and I'm pretty forthright with my private life. I'd separated from my daughter's mother, and she was still in the family home, and I'd put it up for sale so she could move somewhere else. Sean Fielding, the leader of Oldham Council, and remember at this time I had a 2-year-old baby. Sean Fielding, the leader of Oldham Council, shared a picture of my house, of the family home, online. So this is who these people are. So I'm you know, I say I'm through this and I'm doing all right, and all those things are true. But what you've got to also understand, as I was sharing with my friend James English, who I went to meet this week for a podcast for him, is I try the best I can. I try the best I can, and I try and look on the positives, but the truth is it has taken a massive toll on me. And when the Heretics video got removed, which by the way had already had over 500,000 views, you can see here 559,000 views, and that was just on YouTube. When that got removed and Andrew messaged me, what you need to understand is this. Look what he has to say. I've never encountered so much pressure to suppress a video. So he uploaded it on X, and before all of that happened, this is the back end of my X, and you can see they'd removed. So these geographical restrictions set is basically the removal of defamation complaints. So this is coordinated by the Labour Party and Labour Party politicians. It's from no one else. And there will be no defamation claim, by the way. They've already tried that. The lawyers have tried that. And I told them to bring it on, and I'll see them in the High Court. And I'm not just gambling with my life here. I'm not put my life on the line here. If that wasn't enough, what you've got to understand is I lead a very modest life. I'm not the millionaire these people claim I am. I don't have, definitely not stolen the millions these people claim. I have one bank account with the co-op, and I live in a modest 2-bedroom house that's mortgaged. I'm risking my daughter's inheritance here. That's what I'm gambling with. Never mind my life. But here are the 9 videos that they've restricted of mine. Oldham's rotten leadership strikes again. All of this is factual. There's nothing in there. Analysis of newspaper articles, analysis of videos, news reports, official paperwork. How Labour is still covering up grooming gangs. National inquiry incoming. MP's U-turn adds heat on ministers. Mate, I really couldn't give a fuck. I'm not here to have that conversation with you today. If you want to ask why Muslims won't march against Islamists, have you seen what they've done to me? And it's not the Muslims who are doing this to me, mate. It's the state. And if you can't see that yet, go somewhere else. What the media never dared to say until now. Oldham Chronicle declares war on grooming gang enablers. All the times McMahon and his Muslims tried to shut us down. Grooming gang cover-up continues. Labour's latest attempt to help bury the truth. You can see what my target is, and my analysis is, it's on the cover-up of the grooming and gang rape of children. The fox guarding the henhouse, Jim McMahon and the grooming inquiry. Starmer and the far-right bogeyman. That last video was specifically around Starmer standing up and claiming that this was a far-right bandwagon. In January, I think it was. So those are 9 of my videos removed. Now, what should be happening is I should have 9 libel cases. I'd be bankrupted for the next 5 lifetimes, 6 lifetimes. So you can see what's took place here to me. And before, you need to understand the process they've gone through before they had this attack, coordinated attack, to remove my content. They would have gone to the police and tried to force them to have me arrested for this content, saying it was harassment. Now, the police have already had their fingers burnt. This is in the national spotlight. And I had hoped that safety in numbers would somehow protect me. Unfortunately, I haven't got safety in numbers. I haven't. I remember what happened the last time I was arrested and dragged through the courts. It was a dozen or so, mainly pensioners, who came and stood alongside me. Because the state, and I'm not expecting any of you to do that, by the way, so we're clear. Thank you, Lee. I understand. I get your frustrations. If there are 1,000 of us, 100,000 of us, 1,000,000 of us, we should be angry. We should be so angry that millions of us should be speaking out with one voice, demanding the arrests of prominent police officers, politicians, journalists, all complicit, all coordinated. But to this day, we're a handful. Relatively speaking, we are a handful, and that's not fighting back, mate. That's just stupidity. If you think going and blowing things up is fighting back, that's just nonsense. It actually scares off more people than the good it does. You'll never find me condoning violence. It's just never going to happen. So, there's just not enough of us. And when Andy Gold's video got took down, I mean, my content on YouTube, a few thousand look at it. It's next to nothing. Fine, we can amplify the views, the content, and by doing all the work we do in the background, other people take it and it's, it's used and it gets the government ministers and all of that. And again, so I'm very clear, because the police monitor my account. I'm not doing this. I believe in democratic change. I believe we deliver change through the ballot box. And I'll do that on Sunday. I wanted to talk this evening about about the censorship. So you need to understand why they've targeted me. Andy Gold's Heretics interview, 9 videos of mine, in the last 5 or 6 years of relentlessly trying, and it's that. They're scared. They're scared of what I do and how I am very different to anyone else who occupies this space. You can say it's about my background, the way I look, my beliefs, the places I'm from, the work I've done. It's all of that combined and more. And that's why we ended up with this. And I want you to listen to it. I want you to listen to it.
Scandal was covered up because people were scared to say that the majority of perpetrators were of Pakistani origin. Yesterday evening, something similar happened on Newsnight when figures were used. For many years, the rape gang scandal was covered up because people were scared to say that the majority of perpetrators were of Pakistani origin. Yesterday evening, something similar happened on Newsnight when figures were used to deny that was the case.
That's not true.
That's not true, yeah.
Now, on Newsnight, they used figures that looked at only 1 year, 2024, very recently, and only looked at data relating to 37% of perpetrators. Now, a proper study has been done on this, looking at 498 convictions for rape gangs between a period of 1997 and 2017. It was conducted by 2 academics from the University of Chichester and the University of Reading. And what that study found is that 83% of those perpetrators were of Muslim heritage, the majority Pakistani, and the majority of them from a specific region called Mirpur. It's important these facts are properly put into the public domain and not...
It's important these facts are properly put into the public domain. Now, why do you think the Shadow Home Secretary is now parroting almost word for word what I've been putting into the public domain? The attempts to smear me as a far-right bigot, inciting violence, any of that, all of that's failed. And we've now got millions of people across the country who know. The vast majority don't know where they came from, and it doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. So the Andrew Gold story, podcast, and he was brave to have me on. He was the first of the big ones to have me on. I was on Tushi TV first, online, I think you remember. And Andrew got in touch. I went down and saw him. And this is what he says: I've never encountered so much pressure to suppress a video. So what I will do at some point during the week, I'll host a live watch along of that video and pull out, whilst we're watching it together, and do a Q&A of every potentially defamatory term I've said in that, and I'll quantify it and justify it. And what I did was explain what happened, how it happened, why it happened, who was responsible. That's why the Shadow Home Secretary is now talking about the men from Mirpur. So I'll do that. And you need to understand that this is coordinated. There's a reason, because some of these, this has been up for 4 months now. Mate, you don't know me at all. If you did, you'd know I'm not the sort of person who runs away. This is my home. This is my hometown. These are my children. If you knew me, you wouldn't even suggest that to me. I'm very clear of where this will end. We will either win, or I will be in prison, or I'll be dead. I'm very clear on that. I came to peace with that some time ago. So, but thank you for your concern. Thank you for your concern. So I take objection to the word Paki, I'm afraid. Yeah, you'd have to use the term Pakistani if you want. And actually, I'm not I'm not of Pakistani heritage, but you've used the word. It's up there. So that's a conversation for another day, I think. And you'll find that there are many people who look like me who think this way. But the majority are scared. Just expand the argument or the perspective. The majority of white people won't speak out or question the cover-up of the gang rape of white children. Why? It doesn't affect their lives, maybe. 2, it's a price they're willing to pay for the quality of life that they have. Or they're too scared. So, we'll do that. But this was coordinated. We'll do the watch along. This was coordinated because there's something else going on. And I want to get to that something else going on. The Baroness Casey review's coming, and I've been putting pressure on her. And she knows we, this campaign, are putting pressure on her. So she hasn't got the wiggle room that perhaps she once had. It's already been delayed. Jess Phillips had to go and apologise, had to go into Parliament and apologise to Katie Lamb. We now know that report is being published next Wednesday. After Prime Minister's question time. So he can avoid answering any questions. Because we know he's a coward. We know our Prime Minister is not just a liar isn't enough, he's a coward. I'll take that as a compliment. Which is why they're running for the hills. And the first one to run for the hills is this guy. Let it load up.
There was mass cover-ups of the whole thing for the same reason that we've already alluded to, fear. Fear of the political consequences of facing there was mass cover-ups of the whole thing for the same reason that we've already alluded to, fear. Fear of the political consequences of facing reality. What I saw in 2011, there are lots of different things. Normally in Whitehall, the cliche that it's a cock-up, not a conspiracy, is generally true. The one big exception, I would say, is regarding child abuse, where there are actually multiple conspiracies constantly and largely successful. I watched these happening repeatedly in the Department of Education because the issue was parked there by Gordon Brown and Ed Balls, so I had to deal with it when I was there. I would watch the redacted documents and the actual unredacted documents about lots of these cases, and you could see that the redacted documents are redacted entirely to hide the incompetence of the system. Now, what happened on the gangs is that when Andrew Norfolk at the time started to try to report the issue, the council went to officials inside the Department of Education and said, we want to bring a judicial review to have the courts suppress the Times' reporting and not allow it to happen. Some of the officials inside the DFE, who routinely organised cover-ups on such issues, were of course very in favour of it. But there were another set of officials inside DFE who agreed with me that this was absolutely appalling, and in fact we should do the opposite. So what we ended up doing was saying to Michael Gove, you should write to the council and say that if you bring this judicial review, we will actually appear in court on behalf of the Times, not on behalf of you. That obviously blew up the judicial review attempt by the council to keep it secret, and then Norfolk could publish his piece in the Times. Unfortunately, I think Norfolk died recently without even knowing that this ever even happened. But that's just one small example of something which happened many, many times on this subject over a few decades in Whitehall, which is, of course, why the system is absolutely desperate not to have.
The system is absolutely desperate not to have a cover-up, and the example he gave was just one example of many examples of many times the government was involved in the cover-up of the grooming and gang rape of children, suppressing the news, and they're petrified because of how high this goes. So not just government ministers, and by the way, Dominic Cummings is the chief advisor to the former Prime Minister. None of this is accidental. He knew about it in 2011. Well, mate, you might wear a baseball cap and look a bit cooler, but I wish you'd told me earlier. I wish you'd told the nation earlier. He's coming out because, one, he's trying to reinvent himself. He was part of the system, never said anything at the time. He's been kicked out of that space. And he also wants to be on the right side of history. He also wants to be on the right side of history. That's why. So he knows that the Casey review is imminent. And he knows it'll be damning. All my videos have been taken down the week before. Well, not all, but you know, the ones that have. Because it's explicitly, people think, oh, let me go and find out, type something in, and Andy Gould's Heretics is right up there. I wouldn't be surprised if Winston Marshall's one is the next one to suffer, because I think that's up to 80 or 90,000 views. And you can say that. And I want to believe that. But that's not the case. I'll tell you that now. The minute we stop, it'll go back to how it is. And I don't mean this disrespectfully to any of the others. Maggie Oliver doesn't have the skills to navigate this way. Her skill set is specific to her experiences around Operation Augusta and the work of the foundation, which is about the pastoral needs of the survivors. Rightfully so. It's not a criticism. I saw someone put Tommy Robinson's name up. Tommy Robinson is exactly who they want, what they want. They want Tommy Robinson to champion this using the tactics that he is used to deploying. It's easy to contain. And this isn't me criticising the man. He is what he is. It's easy to contain and compartmentalise. This is where it is, because we have made a political campaign out of it, an educational campaign out of it, and we are very focused and we're very targeted. So that's where we are. Which is why I wasn't at all surprised when this came out just earlier. Now, I'm not a supporter of the Sun on the basis I'm a Liverpool fan, so you need to understand this, but this is bigger than any of that. The long-awaited grooming gang review links illegal migration with exploitation of British girls. So this is the establishment fixer, Louise Casey. And the information being leaked out of her team is this. A damning review into rape gangs will directly link illegal migration with the exploitation of British girls. The Home Office is expected to publish the long-awaited national audit on group-based child sexual exploitation and abuse next week. That's the Casey review. A source familiar with the report said its author, Baroness Louise Casey, specifically links illegal migration with the violence perpetrated against vulnerable girls. There are fears in the Home Office that knowledge of the link between undocumented arrivals and grooming gangs could trigger more civil unrest. Of course, there are fears in the Home Office for more civil unrest because the Home Office want more civil unrest. The establishment want people to go onto the streets and shout and scream and blow things up so they can shift the attention from actually what has been exposed. A government spokesperson said, "Nothing is more important than protecting vulnerable children, and we are determined to crack down on vile grooming gangs once and for all." That's why we ordered a rapid national audit to uncover the true scale of this horrific abuse. This report, alongside our response, will be published shortly. So what's took place there? What's taken place there? And it goes on to talk about the latest rape gang scandal to come out, which I'll do a separate story on. So what's gone on there is this. Casey has drafted her report. Okay, you understand that? She's drafted her report. Yvette Cooper, who commissioned the report, the Home Secretary, Jess Phillips, all have seen draft copies of it. And they want certain bits redrafting. Doctored, changed. Casey has resisted some of that and pushed back against it, and the government have doubled down. And the consequence of that is that her team are now leaking to the national media what's going on, what they've uncovered. This is how politics works. This is how this game is played. And the government as much as admit foresight because they say this report along with our response will be published shortly. So what they are now trying to do is restrict Casey from what she wants to say because she knows she's under the spotlight. Baroness or no baroness, this is the biggest scandal in our nation's history. At least in modern day times. Yeah. You picked it up, Ian. There are multiple components to this. The crimes themselves and those who are responsible. One is just one of them. Those who were tasked with safeguarding children and failed, the social workers, the police, the establishment in those areas, the politicians, the police officers who covered it up, and the politicians afterwards and the political elite, including the likes of Andy Burnham, who helped facilitate the cover-up. So that's where we're up to. This is a massive cover-up, and now it's a containment exercise. And they will get away with this containment exercise unless we do something about it. And it's as simple as that. And for everyone who's told me over the last few years, what difference can you make? Well, what I shared this morning to people, the headline was, they never expected us to get this far. They never believed that a bloke in the corner of his living room using a camera and a set of skills he'd developed working for them would be able to do what he has. Now I'll read the report and I'll rip it to shreds and I'll use it to inform and shape Rupert Lowe's rape gang inquiry further. And we'll continue. So don't be upset that they've removed my videos. Don't get anxious, and I say this to myself, that they've gone after Andy Gold's video that's had over 500,000 views. There's a reason why. They are now trying to contain what is coming. They are now trying to set the parameters in which the debate takes place. And they need to control as much of it as possible. And of course, what they can't control is me or you, any one of you. And I can see it in this chat here. Bickering amongst yourselves over things that don't matter. That's what they're used to. They're not used to this focused, relentless form of campaigning that specifically targets them and uses democracy and weaponizes democracy in the way we have. So we're coming up to a pivotal point. We're coming up to a pivotal point in this. We need to get it right. And I find myself pleading with you so many times, and I'm pleading with you again. Don't join in the nonsense of the violence on the streets and all of that. Don't let them deflect away. Don't start joining in on the bandwagon of illegal migrants have been raping children. The case, the conviction today proves it goes back to the 90s. Long before the boats started coming. And that's all I keep asking, Kirsty. We have to stand firm. Keep sharing and make more people aware, because the truth is we are a small community. We are a small community. And as always, you've seen what I'm now risking. 9 lawsuits. 9 defamation claims on my videos, plus a heretics video that I don't hide behind a fake profile. So 10 videos. They'll bankrupt me multiple times if they were to succeed. Yet here I am. I'm not running away. All I need, and I know it's a big ask, because the vast majority of you have never met me. But I need you to find your courage and stand alongside me. Please. My intention is to come back tomorrow evening and go through the horrific, guilty verdict of the latest rape clan convictions that have been announced today. It's again another attempt to cover up what's taking place. Saturday night, I know I accept it, but my life, what most people have as a normal life, for me ended 6 years ago. So I'll be here on Saturday night and I'll do that piece of work. And I'll explain and articulate and show you what the mainstream media won't show you. And remember, I am blacklisted. They succeeded in blacklisting me off the mainstream media, including GB News. And now by removing Andy Gould's podcast, you know what that does? It sends a message to all the other big hitting podcasters. We can't have him on, or if we do have him on, we might get in trouble. So my only hope of succeeding here is with you supporting me to get over the line. And look how far we've come. And all I ask, and remember, I don't charge a penny. I do believe in a higher power. I do believe in a God. I believe that's how we've got here. This is a fight between good and evil. You can sign up for free. And yet our numbers are pitiful. You don't even have to pay. You can sign up for free. Yet our numbers, at best, are a trickle. Why? What more must I do? Can you not see how close we are? Can you not sense it? Can you not feel it? This is panic. This is absolute panic by some of the most powerful politicians in this country and establishment figures. The allegation that they sold our children for votes, documented, evidenced, will now have to be shared on the mainstream media. If it's not next week, it'll be the time after that. And I think that. Our numbers remain low. I always check at the end of the day in terms of sign-ups. Three people. There's 1,340 of you watching. I know from the algorithms that the vast majority do not subscribe to me who watch this content. 3 people have signed up to the newsletter. I think that's all I can do. I'll see you tomorrow evening. Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them. Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them.